How reckless of me. I made you all wet.
Yes, but my martini's still dry. My name's James.
Welcome to Second Class Cinema, the show where we watch a B movie and immediately discuss. I'm here with my loved ones, Brittany, Erik, and Tyler one more time.
Twice the Tyler.
We qualify as loved ones? That's excellent.
Yeah.
Are we
so
the
glad
loved
to
ones?
be a loved one.
You guys are my loved ones.
Are one of us going to get strapped to a chair and have boiling water poured into our forehead hole?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And cover you in glitter. And
am I pretty enough? Or am I not pretty enough?
you're pretty enough, okay?
Okay, good.
Okay. So we have Tyler back on the show again.
Welcome
Yeah,
back.
it's super quick, man.
Yeah.
That was a quick turnaround. Usually it's like 3 months.
I feel like I haven't seen you in
Instead
forever.
of 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, this is back-to-back recordings with Tyler.
Yeah.
Always a good time.
Glad to be back again.
Tonight, I am sipping hot cocoa. And
As we do every
if
Wednesday.
you hear intermittent slurps, it's because we're all enjoying hot cocoa like the good little boys and girls that we are.
it's true, we deserved it because we watched Never Say Never Again, the James Bond movie that came out in 1983 starring Sean Connery. Erik, this was your pick.
Yes, it was.
Please tell us why you picked this movie.
Okay, well, about, say, like a year and a half ago, I got in like a really big Bond kick. I decided I want to watch all the James Bond movies.
Okay.
Don't know why. I just decided I want to do that one day. So I went through and I watched all of the official Eon Productions James Bond movies. And about a year later, I realized that there was an unofficial release in 1983 alongside Roger Moore's Octopussy called Never Say Never Again. And it was an unofficial production.
So what made it unsanctioned?
So most of the all the official James Bond releases are done by Eon Productions, and back when Ian Fleming was trying to adapt the James Bond character into a screenplay, he worked with a guy named Kevin McClory. They wrote the script for Thunderball, and then eventually the project got scrapped or got put on hold or something to that effect. And then Ian Fleming went ahead and wrote the book Thunderball using like ideas from that script. Kevin McClory sued the shit out of him, won, and then somehow, like at a later date, he got the rights to like all the characters and concepts contained within. So he went ahead in 1983 and created Never Say Never Again, which is essentially a remake of Thunderball, which is from the 60s.
And you said this came out the same year as
Octopussy.
As Octopussy.
With Roger Moore, who is the current actual Bond at the time.
Okay, interesting. And
So this is an unaffiliated Bond.
This is an unofficial Bond. This is an illegal Bond. He did
illegal
not have a
Bond?
license to Bond.
Now, Tyler, you are a huge James Bond fan.
That I am.
So, do you have any fun facts about why this doesn't quite fit into the James Bond universe that we can get into before we go into what it's about?
Well, I think since we watched the movie, we can actually talk. I think we could all talk about it. And I know you guys haven't seen any other Bonds, but you still know the traditional cadences to Bond, like the song, which they did not use at all.
That's it.
And the gun barrel open. And they actually didn't have a main title sequence, which Erik noted.
Oh, they do the gun barrel thing for every Bond.
Every Bond.
Every single one.
That.
Yep.
But
Even
my
the
frame
very
of
first
reference
one.
for Bond is non-existent. So
Interesting.
We know that he drinks margaritas.
Yeah, that's pretty much
rocks.
it. All right, Erik, what's Never Say Never Again about?
Okay, well, the plot to this movie is essentially the same as about 8 or 9 other James Bond movies. Spectre, the evil organization that he is always at odds with, has hijacked nuclear missiles from the Americans, and they're going to hold the world ransom. Using those nuclear warheads, they're going to try to make nations all over the world pay money so that they will not attack the United States or whatever country is involved. So it is up to James Bond to recover the warheads and bed many sexy ladies. That's about it.
Oh, and he comes through
Oh, well, of course he does.
tenfold.
When doesn't he? Except when everyone around him dies.
Okay, you clowns, cut the crap.
Brittany and myself have not seen any James Bond movie prior to this one. This is my only exposure is the unsanctioned Bond. So
I think I saw part of a Brosnan Bond when I was younger, but I honestly don't remember a thing
You're
about
better off not remembering any of them.
Yes, this is a very rich universe in which we have no experience in, and you guys have both seen all of them.
Yes.
Okay, so this will be a bit different. So when we go through our successes, I think what we'll try and do is you guys try and give it from the perspective of the other James Bond movies, as well as
comparative successes.
yes, exactly, as well as the general scope of the movie, and we will just keep it from the general scope of the movie since we have nothing to draw parallels with,
Except for Austin Powers.
except for Austin Powers, which is the only way I truly had to use Austin Powers to understand this movie.
As like a point of reference.
Yeah, that's not good for me.
It was very weird, though. Honestly, hearing someone saying 007 and not be joking was like the weirdest experience of my life.
It's just something that's like in the cultural miasma. Like you just kind of picked all this stuff up, but you don't actually know anything about it. And
I
then
was
you're
like, oh
seeing
wait,
it.
he's serious.
Yeah.
He's not just being a dick, like, haha, good going, 007.
It's like Einstein at this point.
Yes, exactly.
Einstein did so many great things, and he's an insult now.
Most people that use the term 007 in the James Bond movies are insulting him, though.
Also true.
That's very true.
Like, you asshole.
So that's deep.
Yes, yeah. He's just a number, essentially, and they're insulting him by saying he's just a number. So
True.
I always thought that was kind of interesting.
At least that's his name, though.
No, that's his actual name. 007.
Oh man, Dublo. I'm gonna name my son Dublo.
It's a family name.
7 Costanza.
All right, so let's go with successes then. Who wants to begin?
This is going to be real weird for me. I honestly, just going to get it out there, didn't write down any successes or failures because I was just watching the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could chalk that up to a success. I would say.
Totally.
Yeah.
That is a good thing.
It is. I felt the same. I have always had my notepad out, ready to take notes. Sometimes it's a negative thing when I don't write down anything. Sometimes it's a positive thing because I was actually sitting there watching this movie, and that's pretty much what I was doing. I was sitting there watching this movie.
Same.
Kept my attention.
I just wanted to disclaim my non-productivity before I really get into this.
Now for the James Bond experts.
Yeah.
How does this measure up to the other James Bond films?
Eric, I'll let you go first because this is the first time you've seen it, so you have
Yeah.
the first gut reaction.
I would say this is on par or better than a good chunk of the other Sean Connery movies. I mean, it beats the hell out of the original Thunderball. Thunderball's really boring. Like this punches up the pace, really takes out like a lot of the slow, boring underwater scenes, or at least in the underwater scenes, there are things actually happening instead of just people swimming. Yeah. Which, oh boy.
You don't want to gaze upon Connery's gams.
Well, I do, but I would like there to be something else in the scene. You know, I don't want to be a voyeur. Yeah, actually, I thought this was probably, I would say, I would put this in my top 10, I would say.
Interesting.
Because I don't have a lot of respect for a lot of the James Bond movies, but I feel like they're a fun movie to put on in the background, so they kind of fill that need for me sometimes. When you just don't really want to pay close attention to something, but this is one that I actually would just like put in and actually watch.
Yeah, that's true. I've told Tom before, this is one of the ones that I've seen the most, I think. Because I always, as a kid, my parents would buy me all the Bonds every Christmas, like on VHS.
Oh, that's great.
So I'd always be watching them, and I always felt I had a bit more respect for this one because of the way they respected the audience. They didn't blindly say that, you know, Bond's immortal. No, he's old now. Like, he's been doing this a long time. He's basically retired. Like, he can't be out in the field. He hasn't passed all his athletic tests and all this garbage, and his diet sucks, all that stuff. So
His
like,
piss blinded somebody.
yeah. So I always really appreciated the fact that they actually treated James Bond as a human being, whereas I always kind of felt as a kid that they didn't treat him like a human being a lot of the time. So
He was Superman. Like, he was untouchable.
exactly.
And I mean, I feel like when they tried to do that in Skyfall, like, they tried to pretend like he was out of shape, but I'm looking at him. He's Daniel Craig.
Yeah,
The dude is
still in
jacked.
excellent shape.
I don't believe for a
Whereas-
second that he's not fit for duty.
Yeah.
How
Whereas
is-
in this, Sean Connery's not in great shape. You can tell his legs are in great
He's in
shape.
pretty good shape.
His legs are in great shape, but
He's
like
in good enough shape.
He looked great
me.
for a 90-year-old man.
At least 100. How is this movie generally received by like fans of James Bond? Is it like frowned upon?
some people hate it, some people love it.
I
It's
feel like
very
this is a
mixed.
divisive one.
Yeah.
Because to me, having no experience in it, it felt like it was very like wink at the audience type of movie, which I don't know if that helped me like it more just as a first time viewer of any Bond, or if that's kind of something that it has going for it in general.
It depends on the movie. I would say like the Roger Moore era, which is this is firmly planted in, just with Sean Connery instead, definitely has a very heavy wink at the camera kind of thing. But a lot of those Roger Moore movies really suffer in terms of pacing and actually being funny. So it's kind of skewed from that perspective. This is actually a pretty funny movie, so the winks actually work. When someone when someone tells like a terrible joke and then they wink at you, that's gross, right?
No,
Like
Connery's a smooth operator.
Yeah, he can get away with a lot.
Yeah,
for sure.
Which begs the question while I was watching this. I was like, I can't decide if Sean Connery is a really great actor or if he's just suave as fuck. Like, I really can't. Or are they the same thing?
Well, he's suave as fuck, but the one thing I notice with this one is always how much he slips his Scottish in. It's less the British accent, more the Scottish accent.
Yeah,
he definitely slips it in.
I just felt like he was like talking like Sean Connery the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't think he was disguising that at all, and honestly, I did not even think about it. I was
Me
like,
either.
until you mentioned, oh wait, oh shit, yeah, he is supposed to be English.
He used to try. Like, I want to say it was Diamonds when he just stopped.
Yep.
He just stopped caring.
Scottish accents are way more better anyway.
Yeah, his regular voice is. You don't need to change it. It's fine as is. Yeah. So, in watching this movie as well, I did enjoy it. I am fearful that the rest of the series isn't like this one, and we had a small discussion of this. So, as someone who's watched this first James Bond movie, is this something that I can expect from the other James Bond movies?
A reasonable portion.
Yeah, you have to pick your fights with that one. Like, you could definitely watch Diamonds Are Forever, which is equally as silly and was Sean Connery's last official outing. You could watch A View to a Kill with Christopher Walken and Grace Jones, which is just completely banana crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's rough.
No, that one's great.
If you like Roger Moore, you'll like that one, though. And you like Roger Moore, trust me.
I do?
I think Roger Moore's your Bond, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like Sean Connery in this.
Sean Connery's a stud.
Yeah. I like him in most stuff, though.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
So
You're predisposed to Sean Connery.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Big fan of The Rock.
Yeah.
So we'll see there.
Well, I think one thing that we have to say is that this was, like, by most cases, not technically a B movie.
I actually have a thought about that.
Yeah.
If Octopussy was the A,
Yeah.
then this by proxy was the B.
Yeah, I think the thing is though is that they were so combative, going like after each other and at the box office. Like they were so in the heat with each other.
Yeah.
They're so close. The budget was huge. You had Sean Connery, who was a name at the time. You know, and yes, he wasn't in it that much, but Max von Sydow was a name at the time as well. So you have people in it. Irvin Kershner just directed Empire Strikes Back, so you have a stud director. So I don't know. I guess that's just the way I look at it, because it exploded.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely see this
So
as
it's a
the B
B
side.
by technicality.
I think so.
All right.
It's the B side
I mean-
to the A that is Octopussy.
Yeah, I would say a lot of the 80s Bond movies are kind of... They have
The
that
B
B
quality.
vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
They were definitely suffering against some of the more popular A-lister action movies. Like, you know, you have the original Star Wars trilogy was coming around at that time, the Indiana Jones movies. Then later on in the 80s, you had like gritty 80s action movies like Commando and Cobra and all that kind of stuff. Like these movies didn't really do a very good job of standing up to the test of time when those things started rolling around.
Yeah, that's true.
So I know the Bond movies always kind of have a B vibe. Like once you get past the 60s, like they didn't really come back into full force until like Daniel Craig came along, really.
Yeah, I mean, there are movies that can be B at heart, you know, and I feel like this is one of those.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
it knows it was skating under the rug with a lot of what they were doing. Like they weren't allowed to use the theme music because for whatever reason he didn't get the rights to it. So like they're making this James Bond movie without the elements that scream James Bond that have existed for 20 years or so, give or take.
Yeah.
So any other successes, guys, in comparison to other James Bond movies, or just in general?
in general, I do think that all of the things that I just listed are successes, like having Sean Connery, having Irvin Kershner direct, having the screenwriter who co-wrote Thunderball like produce. It was well shot.
All the sets looked great.
It looked great. Yeah.
All his one-liners were on point. All his pickup lines were on point.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, so this really wet woman comes flying into the bar.
Oh, do tell, Tom.
Really wet woman comes flying into the bar off her water skis, flies into Sean Connery. She goes, "Oh my God, I've gotten you all wet." And he goes, "My martini's still dry. I'm James Bond."
I was like, "Slap!"
Oh yeah, that was a harsh slam.
I almost feel like that feels like a parody of something you would hear in a James Bond movie, and they just threw it in there, and it fucking works. Like,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm afraid of, because I feel like those elements are what I loved about this.
Nah, it happens all the time, and it's only okay in a Bond movie. That's the only time it's ever okay. This is not allowed in other shit unless you're making Austin Powers.
you'd be like, why would they do that?
Yeah, like you're thinking to yourself, did he actually just say that? Whereas when Sean Connery fucking says it, you best believe he's getting laid.
Yeah, it was like instant. She was like, "All right, I'm fucking you later," or whatever.
Yeah, she was soaking wet. That's
I don't
for sure.
care that you're 130.
Which brings me to the only question I wrote down about this entire movie.
Okay.
And it wasn't even about the movie. It was about the conversation we're having before the movie about how many women Sean Connery has fucked in his life.
5,000.
At least.
That's a low number. I don't know.
I need to know.
I mean,
Inquiring minds want to know.
It's like it's a quantum equation.
He's at
though,
least
because
200 and he's going to die soon, so somebody needs to ask him.
Once you measure it, it's already changed.
Yeah,
So like you can never
exactly.
really know.
He's banging a new chick right now.
yeah, no, he slays babes all over the
He's
all over
still
town.
doing it. So at the Skyfall premiere, he was invited. He walked in. Everybody turned and looked at him. Everybody stood up and started clapping. He probably had 5 chicks that night.
Is this a true story?
Yeah, it is. It's 100% true.
That's amazing.
He deserves a round of applause every time he walks into a room. I wish people did that for me.
He does slay Vag, I bet.
No, absolutely. General speak, outside of the Bond universe, what did this movie do right?
Felt like it had a really good pace. Like for a movie, I would say maybe it was a little bit too long, but then again, most of the James Bond movies are a little bit too long.
It's overstayed their welcome a tiny
a little
bit.
bit too long.
I don't think there's any that are under 2 hours. Maybe Quantum, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah, there's a couple.
But the pacing of this movie was pretty brisk. It didn't let a lot of things breathe for longer than they needed to, which I can really appreciate because, man, some of the James Bond movies, the pacing is really the issue.
Yeah.
They just they focus on things that don't need to be focused on, and this didn't really waste a lot of time there, which is good.
Good.
Got a little draggy for me around like the hour and 40 mark.
A lot of them
But
do.
prior to that, I was like pretty on board for everything that was happening.
Yeah, no, it definitely dipped for a little bit, and I was like, ooh. And those kinds of moments make me kind of dip out of. And that's when I'm getting, the story getting dumped on me, and those are the moments.
If it gets like
when I'm
too
getting,
convoluted, it's just bleh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that the story in this was especially difficult to comprehend or anything.
Yeah, and I mean, not to bring back all Bonds, but most Bonds actually do that. Like, they have to tell you so many things, and, there's a lot of exposition in a lot of Bonds, and it's kind of frustrating. But I'd say that as a whole, this one did an excellent job in not giving it too much exposition. It's much more action pacing, what characters do to move the story forward, less than what they actually say. So it was kind of nice.
So let's move on to where this movie may have fallen short. Then let's start with the comparison to the rest of the Bond universe.
The music is completely off.
It was very odd.
It was really weird. Even if this wasn't a James Bond movie and it was just a generic action movie, the music was still bizarre. Like, it was like this weird, saxy jazz porn music, or like big band style music going on in the background during like action scenes and chase scenes and stuff. It was really weird.
Tom liked it.
I did. I wouldn't say it was a success of the movie, but every time I heard a song, I was just kind of like, I like this song.
And then you found out it was Herb Alpert, and that's why.
Oh, well, he, the Never Say Never Again song, the James Bond song, Herb Alpert contributed his Tijuana brass to this. And I was really really pumped to see that in the credits. I was like, holy shit.
But yeah, I think the problem with the music was that I always had a sneaking suspicion that if the music isn't quite right in a James Bond movie, it's just going to look like a CD porno without any fucking, which is a problem with GoldenEye, because GoldenEye has a really bad 90s soundtrack.
I love GoldenEye soundtrack.
What's that?
I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oof, that car chase at the beginning.
Feels good, man. Feels good.
Feels right. See, I feel like with,
sorry, go ahead.
I feel like with James Bond, it's like there's such a wide catalog, and anyone can like any certain element of it.
Yeah,
Like,
it really is.
So it
That's
draws
the
in
case, yeah.
so many different points of view, because there's 5 different James Bonds, and there's different people contributing to each series of James Bond and in each of its revolutions. And it's come out in different eras.
Brosnan.
No one likes the Brosnan ones. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I love Brosnan.
The interest of transparency. I hate Pierce Brosnan.
You hate his face, I believe you said.
I do.
Which none of us can agree to.
I cannot agree to that. I still stand by that you just hate Stu from This Is
No,
Doubtfire.
it's not just Stu Dunmire, all right?
I think it's Stu.
I thought Stu was very charming.
Oh, good. He meant well.
It was a run by fruiting.
That's what I always think about.
By fruiting someone.
The only negative that I had was that it was a little draggy towards the end, but that's really for someone who complains about stuff being too long all the time. This is like the most minor criticism that I can contribute.
Totally agree.
Funny enough, I think for me the first half hour was kind of draggy for me.
Yeah.
Like the first 10 minutes is great. Every first 10 minutes of Bond movies are just supposed to be good. But then like the back half of that first half hour, it was kind of like, it felt like they took too long to set the actual plot up. Because you guys had asked, oh, well, now we know what the plot is about 35 minutes in.
Yeah.
Like-
Prior to that, we've been like, I have no idea what's going
exactly. So you guys had no idea. And like, luckily I've seen this movie enough where I knew what the plot was. I was just kind of waiting for it.
on. We were like, why is James Bond getting assaulted in this old folks home?
That has a science lab in it.
Don't worry, everywhere has a science lab when it comes to James.
Why is he getting assaulted by Lyle?
So that was kind of a big failure for me. But relative to other Bonds, I'd say that it was to me it was the same thing with Erik, just the music.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just give us a note.
Make it sound kind of like the thing.
Give us one note, man.
I know you're afraid of being sued, but
Yeah.
come on.
Now, when they make James Bond movies, and they've been making them since the 60s, do they assume that everyone watching these movies knows everything, knows what's going on?
For a while, I felt like in the original, before Daniel Craig came along, I think there was this idea that we've been following this for X amount of years, and we have this idea of like, these are the characters, we know who they are. This is what happened to James Bond's wife back in like the 60s, and it was all kind of like it was all kind of understood, and if you didn't know those parts, then it was just lost on you. And then in 2006 with Casino Royale, they kind of rebooted it, and we're going with the assumption that, okay, if you started with Casino Royale, then you're all up to date.
I kind of disagree.
Okay.
Only reason I disagree with it is because most Bond movies have like you said earlier, have the exact same plot. Mm-hmm. So you can watch any James Bond movie and not be lost. That's just kind of the way it is.
I feel like as someone, I haven't seen them. I watch this. I am confused by who is who from scene to scene. Whereas you guys with the background go, "Oh, is that this? Okay, no, that's this guy." Okay,
It's only because we've seen all of them that helps.
Yeah. Like, I think if you had watched...
It's only because we watched the other 19 movies.
Well, because like they introduce who Felix Leiter is every single time Felix Leiter comes into.
That's because he's portrayed by a different actor every single time.
Sure. But even Q, they always say, "Oh, Q Branch has something for you," and he was played by the same actor through the first 19 movies.
Yeah.
So I'd say that anybody off the street could just watch any Bond movie and just you'll figure it out. Like, you will.
We're just like, all right, that's the gadgets guy.
Yeah.
Well, you can.
That's his boss.
And then you'll do so much better on the second one, pretty much.
Okay,
Exactly.
that was my next kind of follow up. There was, do you think it's the more you watch, the more you like?
Yeah, you'll progress.
Yeah, for sure.
So is it like the characters might change slightly, but the dynamic is pretty much the same in every movie?
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, like Eric brought up with Casino Royale, it kind of restarted everything. But like, so from GoldenEye through Skyfall, you had the same M, and you had a relationship between Bond and M that was unlike other relationships between other M's and Bond.
Okay, but that person is M wherever they show up.
Yeah.
And are they meant to be the same person like that? That's where I get
Sometimes not.
And sometimes, so I mean,
but they're still a figurehead in Bond's life. They're still the same mentor.
yeah.
Like, so M is always Bond's higher up, always Bond's, confidant.
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it.
So is this a rotating position? So when James Bond
that's what I was
B
about to
is done, it goes to James Bond C. And,
So James Bond
and
in 007 is just a code name, and various people fill that slot. Like,
Yeah.
That is a persistent theory
organization.
that people have presented.
So that would make sense if it applied to everybody else as well.
Well, yeah, that's what I was. So is this like a whole universe of code names?
Isn't M a woman in one of them?
Yeah.
Judi Dench played M for about 10 years or so.
Okay. Well, yeah, I kind of like that idea of it being like, well, here's our code names, and let's rotate all these different elements in and out of it to do the same jobs over and over again and beat up the same types of bad guys.
Yeah, it could be. If you go in with that mindset, it could be that.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you look at it closer, it does fall apart a little bit, but if you're not like diehard into it, you can totally roll with that and it works.
all right. Well, I'm not, so that might work for me.
There you go. Because we're going to just watch the ones that don't suck. So we'll go through like 5 movies with you.
All right, sounds good. I mean, we kind of didn't really talk about too many failures. We more asked a lot of questions.
I have another failure.
Okay.
We watched a horse die, and I am not a fan of animal cruelty.
Oh yeah, that was sad.
Yeah.
Except for that we saw him after, and he was totally fine.
Nah, different horse.
No, that was movie magic, Brittany.
That was a horse of a different color.
Or they might have shot that first.
That is true.
I'm outraged that there was also a telescope in this film.
Yeah, I'm getting sick of it, guys.
Every time you're on, there's a telescope in the movie.
Telescope, Hulk Hogan, fuck.
Third film in a row.
There was no Hogan in this, which is a bummer.
Imagine having Hogan in a Bond movie.
Imagine if he was
He'd
James
be
Bond.
the ultimate henchman villain.
Oh, I was thinking more like James Bond.
No. No.
Shaken, not stirred, brother.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
As James Bond. Oh my god.
I got a license to kill.
brother.
Sorry, we didn't brother on the last episode, so we got to bring all the brothers in.
Did we not brother on the last episode?
No,
what's wrong
we
with
didn't.
us?
I was really proud of us for not dropping one brother in the Hulk
I
Hogan
saved it
episode.
for when I was writing the episode synopsis.
No, that's kudos to us. I guess if that's it, do we want to go over some favorite parts of this movie?
That's a good idea.
Let's transition to favorite parts nice and smoothly here.
I thought it was hilarious and like very forced. That when what was her name? Fatima?
Yeah.
Yes.
She was like about to kill James Bond, and she tried to make him write down that like she was
the best lover he ever had. I agree. I was like,
what the fuck?
that was the thing where I was like,
was-
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. This is a James Bond movie.
I was like, she's trying to
And I'm
blackmail.
shocked that you did that.
I was like, this is very forceful.
That's presumptuous too.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
It's his last living will. His last living will is for him to write down who his best lover was.
I do love the fact that
She's trying to
his
force him.
his honest answer was that his best lover was in Philadelphia.
Yeah. He's fucked all over the world, and it was someone in Philadelphia.
And probably even in space. Who knows?
Oh, he's definitely
He
fucked in
has,
space.
he has,
He
yeah.
has. Yep.
Moonraker, go check it out.
It's happening, guys. Moonraker.
I will not.
I absolutely will.
But yeah, I thought that was hilarious and so forceful.
And she was the one who was wearing trash bags all the time. Right?
James Bond is such a good lover. She has to have that piece of paper for proof.
I know.
Take it to her grave.
What was she gonna do with that?
That was more for her. That was more for her.
Is that like a bedside draw thing? Like
That's a mental
She's
thing.
gonna leave it in her night table. and
Yeah.
Well, you gotta
flicker
keep in
me
mind,
into it.
her character, she was trying to be a strong woman, right? Like,
Yeah.
like we get that. But she was behind all of these men in Spectre. She was number 12, right? So Spectre has numbers as well. So like you're number 2, number 3, number 4. She was number 12, so she had probably 11 dudes, like all ahead of her.
And she definitely fucked all of them.
She
too.
probably did.
No, I don't think so.
Everyone fucks everyone,
I think
Inspector.
she fucked her way to the
Figuratively or literally.
top. I think she fucked her way to the top because A, she was a horrible dresser, and she did not kill anyone to save her fucking life.
That's true. She was not good at that part. She had one job.
Which brings me to another awesome part.
To be fair, she did kill that one guy.
When she blew up James Bond's hotel room.
There's that.
But he was already banging a chick in some other hotel room.
In hers, it was in the
Across the
chicks.
courtyard.
Was it,
And he's just like glances over and then goes back to business.
Well, yeah, because he goes down, he looks at her, and he goes, "Looks like we make the right decision about what, your place or mine," and puts the screws to her.
Literally.
Such a good line. He had so many good lines.
Dude, this might be the most like concentrated Sean Connery good lines in any James Bond movie.
Like,
Probably.
And see, and that's what I'm afraid of. Like, I saw this first.
Yeah, but you're gonna get more though. You're gonna get way more.
I might get some.
None of them are ever going to be as good as my martini is still dry.
None of them. That's it.
No, there are better ones.
They already-
Roger Moore actually has some pretty good one-liners.
Oh, Roger Moore.
Balderdash.
Hey, I hate Roger Moore.
I'm calling
with
shenanigans.
all of my being, okay? But he's good at one thing: one-liners.
Oh yeah.
Getting one line.
Yes.
He's good at one thing, and that's lines. Anybody else have any favorites?
Yeah, I think I've got a couple here.
That
Sketched out.
That snake part where she threw the snake on the dude and his
While he-
car went through a wall.
Where did that wall come from?
That wall came out of nowhere.
It's just a giant brick wall that is half completed.
What was the snake point? Like, what was that? Like her?
Well, she distracted him. She was like, she did the Christmas vacation kit. Hey, kids, look, a deer.
Yep.
Right? And then he looks the other way, and then she throws a snake on his lap while he's driving, and then he freaks out, and then
drives through a brick wall.
Corkscrew through a brick wall.
Now,
Don't worry, no snakes were harmed in the filming of this.
just horses.
Oh, only horses. Goodbye, horses.
So from what I understand, that wasn't the first time that something like this has happened.
yeah, it happens all the time. Walls come out of nowhere all the time in James Bond.
People get snakes thrown at them.
Snakes and tarantulas are frequently used as attack objects.
One of my favorite parts I'm going to throw out there, really tiny thing. So the doctor in this place he's at is telling him, you need to get healthy. We need to take control of your diet. And you need to do better. And so he has this woman come into his room, and he's got this secret suitcase that is full of the classiest snacks a
He's
man
like
can
caviar
wield.
buckled down,
He's like, yeah, he's got like straps like you'd see.
like a gun case or
Yeah,
something.
it's a gun case full of classy snacks like caviar and vodka.
Chilled vodka. Like,
Cheese.
I'm like, man, this guy's a baller.
I want that snack back.
I know. I thought that was hilarious. And how often do we get a glimpse into James Bond's snacking habits?
he's always eating.
He's always
I think
eating.
He's frequently
Yeah.
He
eating.
loves
And
apples.
drinking.
Like, I'm just thinking, like, there's a part in Honor Majesty's Secret Service where, like, he just beats the shit out of some guy in a hotel, and then before he leaves, he grabs some caviar and starts eating it, like, talking about what kind of caviar it is. Like, you prick.
Is that a Connery?
No, that's
No,
the George
Lazenby.
Lazenby. It's Georgia Laserbeam.
Georgia Laserbeam.
George laser beam.
Oh, well, I didn't know if that was like a Connery contribution or like a James Bond thing. Like he loves to eat and be
Eat,
classic.
drink, fuck.
Yeah,
That's
Kill.
yeah. He's got like 4 modes of operation.
Yeah.
I wish I had those.
He
modes of
enjoys the
operation.
finer things in life.
I can eat.
I do have a question. It's totally irrelevant about his toxic piss. So when that guy's like slamming him around in the science lab,
that guy
and
being an evil guy who's coming to assassinate
a
him.
henchman who like rips his shirt off. I don't know. No, that was the last movie we watched, but I felt like he should have ripped his shirt off.
No, that was Hulk Hogan.
Well, he was wearing like a jumpsuit that was completely unzipped, and everyone was just like, "Oh, hi."
Yeah, this guy's supposed to be here in this old folks home.
So he throws Sean Connery like 40 feet, and then Sean Connery just grabs a jar of something and tosses it in his face, and the guy's like, "Ah!" And he looks down and it says James Bond, and it was like his urine sample that he gave the nurse earlier. So my question is, did it just blind him because it's piss, or is it because he's so unhealthy his piss was like super toxic?
I think he drank
Like-
so much alcohol.
That's what I was going
That
to
like
just-
burnt his
the
eyes.
alcohol thing,
Dude,
yeah.
that's what I thought.
His
I was like,
urine is
there's
pure
no
alcohol.
I was like, there's no way he just threw a martini in that guy.
I think he pretty much did.
He pisses a dry martini. Like the olive comes out.
That sounds so painful.
Oh, that's disgusting.
That's why olives taste like that. I know you and me, we agree olives are terrible.
Olives are the fucking worst.
Yeah, they come out of James Bond's urethra.
Oh,
Good thing I
man.
didn't get them on the delicious pizza we had tonight,
Thank
even
God.
though I wanted to.
No olives. Any other favorite parts from anyone? Anything?
That classy baller fucking arcade.
Oh shit. So tee it up.
Frequently in James Bond movies, James Bond will end up at a casino of some sort, and he'll play something classy, like he'll play like roulette, or more famously like baccarat. You know, very very classy, high end, expensive casino games. In this, he goes to a casino and he gets ushered into a secret back room where all the high rollers are playing Galaga and Space Invaders. Like it just. There's people dressed in tuxedos and fancy nightgowns, and there's a bar with a barman serving actual adult drinks, but everyone is playing arcade games.
There's a Kim Basinger in a sparkly dress.
She looks classy as all hell.
Oh yeah, she looked good.
Yeah, and Largo, the main villain of this piece, has him throw down on a virtual holograph arcade game that like inflicts pain on you when you're losing.
Basically Battleship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Domination.
Yeah.
And this whole thing just seemed like, as silly as it was, and something that James Bond seems to always try to do is like get with the times, and it never quite gets it right. And this is the worst example of it, where it's like instead of having him play those old man games, let's have him play a video game. And I feel like if I had seen this as a kid, I would have thought it was the best movie ever.
Oh yeah, I would have wished I had Domination.
Oh yeah.
Based on that scene alone.
I did.
Yeah, I'll say yes. You're very familiar with this from your kid. Did you really want Domination?
Yeah, I was always upset because I was like, why does James Bond get to play the games?
Dude, and he was into it.
He was.
He gets the best of everything.
Yeah, he really does.
He had a face like he was about to get like a 10 kill streak in Call of Duty.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that touch. That was a good attempt.
They tried.
Yeah, hell of a try, guys.
It was wrong, but they tried. I'll give them credit.
But it's funny now because as adults, like we strive for that now. Like we want those bars to have arcades and shit like that. So we want to be childish in our adulthood.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at that. I was like, I would totally go there.
That'd be awesome.
That looks like so much fun.
Like I get to be classy and I get to put quarters in a machine. That's awesome.
And have it say, you lose.
Contradictory.
Winners don't do drugs.
Yay!
I got one last thing that
One
nobody's
last-
mentioned.
Perfect.
Man on Fire.
Yes. This movie got a man on fire. Squeeze a man on fire in there.
Yep. From a
Squeezed it
grenade.
in.
It was really bizarre. It didn't look
Yeah.
like that guy was supposed to light on fire.
He probably had gasoline on him or something.
You know how there's always that one guy who covers himself in gasoline before every operation?
Yeah.
It's the worst henchman, Gas Man.
Yeah. Yeah, so if that's it for favorite parts, are we ready to rate this thing?
Oh, yeah.
Rate it, sucker.
So let's rate it then.
Yeah, I'm going to go with
Yeah,
fuck
I'm going to
you.
have to give it an unfortunate fuck off.
Oh my god, my fucking father.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
All right, guys, let's rate Never Say Never Again. James Bond movie, unsanctioned. Let's start. Who wants to go? Eric?
I think I can go.
All right.
I'm going to give this a fuck yes.
A fuck yes.
This isn't necessarily my style of Bond. I tend to prefer the darker ones. Most of our listeners will probably turn off the podcast when I say my favorite is probably License to Kill. But in terms of the sillier Bonds, this is a perfect example of how the campy side of this series can be excellent in its own right. It winks at the camera in a really fun way, where it's like winking with you instead of being like, you get it?
Oh, you mean like literally?
Yeah.
Like the closing shot of the movie.
Is James Bond looking you straight in the eye, winking, and
And then he gets framed with 007.
Making out.
and making out with Domino? It was good.
Was it as good for you as it was for me, Tom?
I hope so. I really do.
But yeah, I feel like this is a really just a fun James Bond movie. I was actually not expecting it to be this good. Because I was like, unlicensed James Bond movie, I bet that's a laugh riot. And it actually turned out to be legitimately fun and legitimately funny.
Legitimate laugh riot.
Yeah, it was. Like, this was a fun, funny action movie. I can't really say much more about it. It's good.
Cool. Britt, what about you? You want to go?
Okay.
All right, go.
Okay. I will give this a fucking fine. I actually ended up enjoying it way more than I thought I would for never having seen any of them before. But I also feel like James Bond in general really isn't my cup of tea. And I'm kind of preemptively disappointed because I feel like all of the other ones will not be as ridiculous as this one.
That's my mentality.
You guys are crazy.
But I did enjoy it, and I would tell someone to watch it. It was entertaining. I liked it.
Cool.
But not quite fuck yeah territory for me.
I hear you. I'm gonna agree with Eric. I'm gonna give this a fuck yes, and I say that because I truly enjoyed this movie. It was a lot of fun. Barring the draggy bits, I think this was something that I think I'd watch again. I think I want to watch more James Bond movies in this ilk. I'm not sure.
More Connery Bond?
Yeah, I'll definitely. The next one I watch is definitely going to be a Connery one. I don't know if I want to watch. And if not Connery, it will be the Timothy Dalton ones. But I don't know. I'm fearing that this may have already taken over as the best one I've seen.
We'll transition it to Diamonds Are Forever. You'll be fine.
All right. Okay.
You'll be okay, man.
All right, Tyler, round us out. What are you going to give this one?
I give a fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's competent. It's everything that I love about Bond. The only gripes that I really have with it again are the music and the lack of a gun barrel intro. But before I forget, there is one other unlicensed Bond that we should probably watch at some point.
You talking about the original Casino Royale?
Yes, I am. And that is a total parody. It's complete parody. That'll be later on down the line because you have to actually appreciate Bond first.
Austin Powers before Austin Powers,
Exactly.
essentially. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, do you consider that a part of the James Bond universe? I mean, if it's a straight parody.
Well, everything's exactly the same. They still use James Bond. They still use 007. They still use all the standard characters. It's like this one.
So now, how?
Except it is a comedy.
Well, now how were they able to do that?
I forget the legalities on that one. I'm pretty sure Ian Fleming was okay with it. It also is one of the early ones that was based on a short story. Casino Royale is a short story. It's not a full novel or novella or whatever. So it's just a short story, and Ian Fleming was okay with it.
Okay.
So because they used the name, they used everything like in accordance with him, and he was still alive at the time too. So, everything had to go through him first.
All right. So I guess we can say that there's 2 unsanctioned James Bond movies then.
Yeah. Yep. You can say that.
All right. So maybe that'll be the next one I watch. Just keep it really off the farm.
Let's keep it illegal.
Yeah. There we go.
But yeah, fuck yeah for me. It still holds up. I'm surprised it still holds up. I was nervous too. So.
When's the last time you watched it?
Actually, not that long ago, because I did watch it for the 50th anniversary. So 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Okay. And this is top 3 for you, top 5, top 10?
No, I love a lot of the other ones more.
You do?
This is probably like bottom third for me.
Bottom third?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's still a fuck yeah at the bottom third?
That speaks to your love of these movies.
And-
I love everything about Bond.
And that's going to tell me that 60 to 70% of Bond movies are fuck yeahs or
For
higher
me,
for
me are a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of different factors. I mean, there are probably Roger Moore movies that I do like more than this one because they're a lot more fun.
Mm-hmm. What's the worst James Bond movie? Worst one?
Die Another Day.
Die Another Day?
Erik hates Die Another Day. I think it's fun. To me, really put me on the spot.
I might have to change my vote to Moonraker, actually.
I know Erik hates... Moonraker is probably my least favorite, too.
Yeah. Moonraker is just boring. There's not a lot going
is.
on there. You would expect James Bond in space to be a lot more exciting, and it's not.
That's a bummer.
It's not great, but it does have Jaws.
Does have Jaws.
Yeah.
He's a redeeming factor in this movie.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, guys, on Never Say Never Again?
No one has any thoughts whatsoever.
I have a question for you, Tom.
All right.
Is your martini still dry?
Yes, I'm James Bond.
And that's why you're chasing the bus.
No. All right, so I guess that's it then. You've been listening to Second Class Cinema. We watched Never Say Never Again from 1983, the James Bond unsanctioned picture, and I guess we all kind of liked it. Tyler especially.
Yeah, always do.
Always do with the James Bond movies. If you'd like more information, come on to the Facebook page, facebook.com/secondclasscinema. You can listen to us wherever you're listening to us now, and Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, secondclasscinema.com, and followingfilms.com. Thanks for coming back on the show, Tyler.
I'm surprised you guys are not sick of me yet.
Always a
It's
pleasure
getting
to have you.
disgusting.
No, always a pleasure.
No, I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad we could talk about something that I really, really love. So that was cool too.
Yeah, excellent.
Tyler will return in another Telescope movie.
Yeah, that was perfect.
It's true.
I can't believe that.
That is weird. So it's been every movie there's been a telescope scene,
There's
right?
been a pervert looking at someone through a telescope.
And it's even more perfect because last week you were
I don't
like,
think
that
I'll-
doesn't happen that much.
and then it happened tonight.
I don't think Only the Strong did,
No, there was no telescopes
but
in Only
I
the Strong.
know for a fact Three Ninjas did.
Three Ninjas did. Santa with Muscles did.
I'm sure Surf Ninjas did.
I want
Oh, it
to go
had to
back
have.
and watch Only the Strong because I feel like there has to be a telescope.
I'll take you up on that one. Here we go.
At least a pair of binoculars.
Watch out for the Primo.
Oh, yeah, we've discussed this. Binoculars is just...
You don't listen to the Primo.
Oh, yeah. Also, my professional wrestling name is El Primo Loco, which is the crazy cousin. I bought a luchador mask in Mexico, and that's what I'm going to be.
Your Spanish
I'm
listeners
looking at it
already
right
know
now.
that,
It's
Tom.
on your stuffed gorilla.
Well, most of our listeners are in California, so I'm sure a lot of them do speak Spanish.
There you go.
There we are. El Primo Loco, everyone. Good night. I mean,
El Primo Loco signing off.
I'm going to end every episode.
Second